What's up, you guys? Well, it's official. Checking myself in a rehab today, TRADER Rehab. And this isn't the first time I've gone to TRADER Rehab. I've kind of relapsed here, especially in the last 6 months, being super aggressive with the way I've been trading, swinging for fences, trying to hit home runs. And I spent some time over the weekend really going through my metrics. After a really bad last few weeks, I decided, look, I gotta sit down, I gotta go over everything. And I made some really interesting discoveries that I didn't expect to find about my trading that kind of changes the whole way I look at how to approach day trading. And so with these new principles in mind, I'm checking myself into rehab for the rest of the month, and the restrictions are on my account. And what I'm gonna do for you guys is I'm gonna break down what that means, and I'm also gonna break down what I discovered that's really made me wanna make a change. You know, you can only change if you want to, and this time, I really want to. So let's get into what this is all about. All right, so after a series of some really big red days, I had the worst week of my trading career just last month. And it hit me hard. And it got me thinking about what I'm doing that works and what I'm doing that doesn't work. Now, some of you guys have heard this story, but when I was first getting started trading, my turning point was actually a huge red day. And it was a turning point because it was a catalyst that forced me to go and pore over all of my trading data and figure out what I was doing that was working and what wasn't working. And so that's exactly what I decided to do after this really bad week. And I discovered something really interesting that I didn't expect. And now I'm talking about losses. A lot of people don't like to talk about losses. They like to brush them under the carpet. And some of you guys may think, Russ, you know, you had a terrible week. Why would I want to learn from you? And I want to remind you that being a trader, this is like being a professional athlete. This is a performance sport. Just because I lose one game doesn't mean I'm out for the season. I've still had a great year, up, as of today, over $300,000 on the year. So yeah, I had some bad days, and I want to do better. I want to get better. So just keep that in mind. Now, as always, if you guys have questions or comments on the metrics that I'm going to go over for you or anything else, please leave them below, because I personally respond to every comment posted on my YouTube channel, and I really do appreciate it. So, and give me a thumbs up if you enjoy these videos. Now, this is what I discovered. I wanted to look first at my biggest winners and my biggest losers. And so I knew that those trades would be on the extreme. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a bell curve here. So the biggest winners are going to be over here. And what I did was I added up my top, my top 25 biggest winners. And my top 25 biggest winners, this is interesting, they amounted to about $215,000. Top 25 biggest winners, $215,000. So I was like, okay, so that's what swinging for the fences gets me, $215,000. And some of those winners were $15,000, $20,000 plus $1,000 in one trade. But let's check the other side. And now the other side were my biggest losers. So my top 25 biggest losers amounted to minus $203,000, top 25. So what I discovered, based just on the top 25 biggest winners and biggest losers, was that in fact, they offset each other to the point where swinging for the fences, swinging for home runs only gave me a net profit of plus $12,000 in the last 10 months of trading. So $1,200 a month. For all that stress and that adrenaline rush of swinging for home runs and big strikeouts. Only $12,000. Now, in that same period of time, I said, okay, that's interesting. What else can I learn about these top 25 biggest winners and biggest losers? And what I learned about the top 25 biggest winners was that my average share size was 22,000 shares. It's probably not surprising to make $20,000, $1 per share on a 22,000 share position. All right, so 22,000 shares and an average of 20 tickets for every trade, which means I press the buy or sell button 20 times inside the trade. And that might mean that I bought 5,000 shares, I added 5,000, I added another 5,000, that's 3 tickets. Then maybe I sold 5,000, added back, sold, added, and all of that up to 20, an average of 20 tickets and 22,000 shares. So that to me certainly felt like over trading. And on the losing side, my average was 12 tickets and 15,000 shares. All right, so that basically told me that when I trade with really big share size, when I'm trading at the extremes, that's when things are getting a little crazy. So now let's focus on this area here. Because if in the last 10 months I'm up over 300 grand and this only contributes 12,000, that means the bulk of the profit is right in here. So let's kind of bring this down. This is going to be, let's say this is going to be anything more than minus 2,000. So this is minus $2,000, and that'll be anything minus 2,000 and more. And this is going to be, oops, I'll use my green. This is going to be plus 4K, anything greater than 4K. All right, so what I learned is that losses greater than $2,000, and this is interesting, losses greater than $2,000 totaled minus $361,000 this year. Average share size was 14,000 shares on losses greater than 2 grand. So that's a fair amount that's big share size and a fair amount of losses. Now on the flip side, winners in excess of $4,000 amounted to only $319,000, including the top 25. And my average share size on those was 15,000 shares as well. All right. So what I discovered here was that if I never had a loss bigger than 2,000, and contrary to what I believed, I never had a winner greater than 4,000, I actually would have made an extra $40,000 because those losses greater than 2,000 exceed in dollar amount the winners that are bigger than 4 grand. So that was a really big takeaway for me. So then this is what I'm really interested in. These trades right in here. So let's talk about these trades, which is my sweet spot. So let's draw a line right here at 0. So this is going to be the 0 point. This is anything between 0 and minus 2,000. And over here is going to be everything from 0 to plus 4,000. All right, so what I discovered, trades between 0 and minus $2,000 amounted to negative $156,000, which is not bad. And my average share size was only 7,000 shares. Okay, now trades between 0 and positive 4,000 right here amounted to $510,000. $510,000 with average share size of 6,000 shares. So that left me with a net profit of about $350,000 right here. So if I only focus on base hits, if I stop trying to swing for the fences, I'll actually make more money. I'd make $40,000 more than what I've made in the last 10 months. And that for me is really eye-opening because I feel the need to hit home runs, to have those big, huge grand slams, those Hail Mary passes. And in fact, not only do they not really contribute to my total profit in a significant way, any trade in excess of 4,000 up or 2,000 down actually is detracting from my total gain. So yeah, it feels good to hit a home run. It feels good to have a huge winner. But in fact, that's not making me a successful trader. What's making me a successful trader is hitting base hits. And so, for the next month, for the next 30 days, for the next 4 weeks, I've set some ground rules for myself. Given the fact that the vast majority, in fact 110% of my profits comes from trades of an average of 6,000 or so shares, I want to get back to that low share size. Now, as a proof of concept and as part of being in TRADER Rehab, I'm going to limit myself to 2,000 shares. 2,000 shares is going to be my max share size for the next 4 weeks. And that's part of pressing the reset button. Now, my goal with 2,000 shares is that I'm able to get back to this area right here. It's trading with really big share size that brings out the emotions. the big share size results in slippage, where the losses are bigger and the winners are smaller. And that's something that may not be obvious. You might think, well, if you could trade and make X amount with 2,000 shares, you'll make the same amount with 20,000 times 10. But in fact, it's much easier to sell a 2,000 share position on the market than a 20,000 share position on the market. And that's just the nature of liquidity in the market. And so what it means is that when you go to sell that same 20,000 share position, as you sell, the market has to absorb your sell order with small buy orders, and the price goes down. So what that means is that those home run trades with huge size, the winners inevitably will be smaller due to slippage, and the losers will be bigger. And so as you scale up in share size, you don't go straight like this. You actually would see a bit of a diminishing return. In fact, to the point where it starts to go down where your share size got so big. And finding that sweet spot, both in terms of your comfort zone and the liquidity of the market, is the ultimate goal of any trader. So my goal for this Trader Rehab is to trade with 2,000 shares, proof of concept, to focus on solid base hits and to avoid these big losses. And certainly during this period of time, I expect every trade to be within the bracket of minus 2,000 and plus 4,000. In fact, I would say since 2,000 shares is a third of 6,000, I should probably be trading more within the brackets of, plus maybe, 1,500 and not more than minus like 700. If I'm, really gonna kind of stick with that range. But I'm not gonna set that in stone right now. What I'm gonna set in stone is that this is my max share size and my max loss on the day. I've brought it up to minus $1,000. So if I'm down more than 1,000, I'm done for the day. And we'll see how I do with that. My hope is that this period of rehabilitation gets me back in the zone, helps me refocus on base hits, what really pays the bills as a trader. And then next month, when I start my small account challenge, this whole month will have been training to prepare me for that big challenge of trading with $500. All right, so as always, questions, comments, please leave them below, and I will see you for the next video coming real soon. Hey, did you know every morning I go live to stream my pre-market watch list? Subscribe to the channel, press the alert button, and you'll get the notifications. And if you want to learn more about trading, check out the links in the description, and if you have questions, post them in the comments because I personally respond to every comment posted on my channel.